Mr. President.
Senator from Oregon.
Mr. President, I've come to the Senate floor tonight to ring the alarm bells. We're in the most perilous moment, the biggest threat to our republic since the Civil War. President Trump is shredding our Constitution. Is it okay for mass federal agents to arrest people off the street because of their skin color or their accent? No way, not in a free America. Okay for the government to cancel research grants to compel universities as to what they can teach? No way, not in a free America. Okay to use power over broadcast licenses or power over mergers to compel television networks as to what they can put on the air. Not in a free America. Okay to weaponize the Department of Justice to go after perceived political opponents? James Comey, Letitia James, Adam Schiff, a member of the Senate? Hell no. Absolutely not. You know, we have a theory of justice here in our nation that is symbolized by those words above the pillars of the Supreme Court. It's carved into the facade. You walk out these doors to the right, you keep going, you're standing on the steps that lead up to the Senate, you're staring straight out at the front of the Supreme Court. And there, carved above those pillars, it says, equal justice under law. Equal justice under law. That's the vision here in America. Not unequal injustice, which is what the president is pursuing by taking the power of the government and going after individuals that he does not like or perceives to be political opponents. That's what you read about in authoritarian governments far away. And you go, that would never happen in the United States of America. But it is happening right here, right now, unequal injustice. And then we have government by gaslighting. President Trump wants us to believe that Portland, Oregon, in my home state, is full of chaos and riots because if he can say to the American people that there are riots, he can say there's a rebellion. And if there's a rebellion, he can use that to strengthen his authoritarian grip on our nation. Pretend there are riots, or even try to provoke violence and tighten his authoritarian grip. Well, Portlanders have responded a very interesting way. They're not taking the bait. They are demonstrating with joy and whimsy. You may well have seen some of the videos. A wedding held in the street, a joyful wedding outside the ICE building. A group of frogs, a squad of frogs in inflated suits. The unipiper on his unicycle with his bag pops. All of this going on, including things like puppies for peace, or keep your puppy paws off Portland. Keep your paws off Portland. Or maybe you saw the women coming down and holding a pajamas and pastries party in the morning. Portland demonstrating with joy and whimsy because they want to make it clear to the world that what Trump is saying about there being violent protests or a rebellion in Portland is just not true.
We begin this hour on Capitol Hill, where the Senate will vote for a 12th time today on a House-passed measure to fund federal workers and reopen the government. President Trump is holding the line after meeting with congressional Republicans yesterday. He rejected requests from both the Senate and House Democratic leaders to negotiate and end the shutdown. Listen to this.
I would like to meet with both of them, but I set one little caveat. I will only meet if they let the country open.
I'm going to bring in CBS News congressional correspondent Torian Small, who's joining me live from Capitol Hill. So, Torian, one Senate Democrat spoke on the floor all night. What happened there?
Yeah, that's Jeff Merkley, the Oregon Democrat who has been pretty much going on a tear since about 6:30 last night, protesting the Trump administration and also the fact that he hasn't been open to negotiating with Democrats when it comes to reopening the government. He's also pushing back on Trump's outsized response from ICE in Portland, Oregon, and also the measure to send in the National Guards there. But this is a part of a pattern of lawmakers on the Hill, in lieu of talking across the aisle about a resolution, taking to these very public forums like daily press conferences, like the one that Speaker Mike Johnson will hold in just moments here, and then also on the Senate floor to bash the other side for not coming to the table, Vlad.
So what do Democrats and Republicans at this point, what are they gaining by letting this shutdown drag on and putting Americans who rely on their paychecks in dire straits, Tori?
Well, I don't think any side would overtly say that this is to their benefit, but we are hearing accusations by the other side that, for example, Republicans are accusing Democrats of gaining favor with what they're calling the radical left side of their party. Democrats are accusing Republicans of looking to point the blame while washing their hands of any responsibility that would absolve them from these crucial conversations around health care and Medicare benefits that are set to sunset at the end of the year. Here's a conversation, though, that I want to toss to with Kevin McCarthy, former House Speaker who was ousted after some contention in his own party. Here's him on the takeout last night talking about the entire situation.
We have never shut the government down over a continuing resolution, which to your viewers, which are highly educated political people, that simply means keep government exactly as it is. So there are no advantages to anybody else, but the reason why they shut down, purely political. It's kind of the reverse where Republicans were in 2013. You've got a Republican in the White House for a second term, so Democrats are upset.
Our viewers are also intelligent to know that the longest government shutdown happened under President Trump's first term. That was also dealing with government funding, and the problem there was Donald Trump at that point looked to get more out of that, not just spending levels at the same point. So McCarthy does have a point there when it comes to these continuing resolutions. They're supposed to be clean, which is why Democrats in March, Senate Democrats in March, joined with Republicans in pushing this across the finish line. The argument now is that they would lose any leverage to negotiations if they reopen the government and go along now versus later when the full appropriations bill is set to be passed.
All right, Torian, thank you very much.
Oregon Democrat Jeff Merkley still has the floor in the U.S. Senate this hour as he continues his protest of the president's deployment of the National Guard to Portland and other Trump policies in his marathon speech. He started speaking at 6:21 last night.
We're in the most perilous moment, the biggest threat to our republic since the Civil War. President Trump is shredding our Constitution.
New Jersey Democrat Cory Booker holds the record for longest Senate speech in April at more than 25 hours.